Is there any point watching the league matches to the end of the season? Because they can't be bothered, so why should we?
We could genuinely go the rest of the season without winning a game. West Ham fans were surprised it didn't go to extra time and penalties.
I've got to go. I wanted to pop in and say hello, and
And
I've
say
got,
how
I've got to
shit
join for the
Basuma was.
rest. I've made my one comment. He's shit, and now I'm going.
He's not Romero. He's not Van der Ven, but he's better than Ben Davies.
Do you know what? I'm actually struggling. I'm going to struggle to talk about it because I almost can't remember anything about the match. That's how much of a mark it left on me.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very latest CADS podcast. We're here to talk league fixtures. We're here to talk European form. We're here to talk Jed Spence, James Maddison, and anything else that comes our way. I am joined here tonight by David. Say hello, David.
Hello.
Hi, and David, you have actually been to league games in the stadium this season, which is far more than me. So I should be relying on you to give me the man on the ground type feeling. We are going to have to open this by talking about the West Ham game. I don't know how long we want to talk about it because it was almost a non-event. I mean, West Ham's cup final of the season, as Marcel said, West Ham fans were surprised it didn't go to extra time and penalties. It's their big one, and we got a draw out of it. I thought we were the better team generally, but neither side were great. Neither side was great.
Do you know what? I'm actually struggling. I'm going to struggle to talk about it because I almost can't remember anything about the match. That's how much of a mark it left on me. I mean,
I'm kind of the same.
Who scored?
Genuinely kind of the same. There was a goal. There's a game going on right now. Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest. So
I can't even remember who scored the goal for us anymore. I've already forgotten.
As what's another bear? Lovely little finish.
Oh yeah. It was actually his only contribution in the match. He's, I used to think that Brennan Johnson didn't contribute anything unless he scores, and then I saw Odebear and realised that it can actually be even less than that. I was quite extraordinary.
Oh, I think that's harsh. I think Odebear's a tidy little player. I think I, in terms of the way the game goes, I think I'd rather have Odebear on the pitch than Johnson.
Well,
but
he took his goal very well.
Yeah, he is.
Did he touch the ball for the rest of the match, either before or after? I'm not saying that might not be his fault because we basically did nothing on the right-hand side all match. I'm starting to come back to me now. You see, that might be having Archie Gray as right back, so he didn't have, which is not the criticism of Archie Gray, who isn't a right back, and he isn't a central defender, and he's not a midfielder, and he's not soon. Hopefully during the pre-season we'll figure out what he is, because
he'll be one of them.
He's a good footballer.
Yeah,
but there's an awful lot of he's not. What is he?
He's not yet. What's another bit? I'm a sucker for a tricksy little player, fast feet, and for me, he's got that, and I think he's one of those players who's going to be very important for us in the future. Right now, he's still kind of feeling his way back into the side. He was out for most of the season with an injury.
Yeah.
He's come back. He's done some good things, scored goals, looked dangerous. That final ball is still kind of waiting to be integrated and everything meshing beautifully. But, I'm fairly confident it'll get there. I mean, it probably won't help if there's a whole load of upheaval in the summer, which could very well happen.
Yeah, and he's also coming into a side that's been changed every time, so there's not an awful lot of continuities. There's not a lot of understanding between the players. So, in fact, that's kind of the problem with watching matches at the arse end of the season, where the matches mean absolutely nothing, and really players that would be starting in the Europa matches are just trying not to get injured, I suppose. And players that know already they're not going to be starting in the Europa, well, I don't think they know why they're playing. They don't seem to have anything to play for. You would, I don't know. I would wish to see someone like perhaps Sarr or, I don't know, Danso or a few of the players going, hang on a minute, if I really step it up, maybe I can force my way into the match in Norway. I don't think they believe they can. I think that, a little bit like in Nuno's brief tenure, we've already gone to an A team and a B team. And I think the players that are in the B team are feeling a bit demotivated. I'm not saying that that's excusable. Nuno got brickbats for that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why Aaand would be exempt from any criticism of that type. And the one I'm thinking about is especially Jed Spence, and I think Udogie's been great when he's come in for the Europa matches. But Jed Spence must be wondering, well, what did I have to do to keep my place? Why have I been relegated to Premiership matches? And I think he's a player. Well, I think he's clearly a player that gets affected by things like that. He talked about when he arrived at Tottenham he'd been on loan at Notts Forest, I think, and he was flying, and he arrived at Tottenham and basically got told that he wasn't wanted. And I think he said it was like I ran into a wall, and and he said his motivation went and his head went. I'm wondering, because I don't think his performances are not at the same level they've been since Udogie came back into the side, and I think it's affecting him because he's such a fantastic player.
I don't think chopping and changing sides does him any favors, really. He's played right, he's played left. Arguably, he's had more good games on the left than the right, and I think he just needs to be given a spot and play for a while. Instead of, oh, well, we're going to fit you in here, or we're going to fit you in over there. It's kind of like, are we going to play the guy, or are we just going to use him as a stopgap, a filler? I mean, he's such a good footballer that I think he's pushing Udogie for the left spot, and I think he's pushing Porro for the right spot. But I think Aaand has settled on Porro and Udogie as his first choice pairing for European games, because both just seem that little bit more comfortable stepping into midfield.
Yeah,
but so then maybe that's it.
But he's so good. I mean, even against West Ham, even though I'm critical of his level against West Ham, he was still one of the best players on there. I mean, I think he switched off a bit for their goal, as did Ben Davies, as did. Well, why the hell did Vicario let that in between his legs, and so on and so forth? But Jed is not blameless for the goal. But there's times where he just suddenly switches it on, and he gets a bunch of space down that left side, gets a cross in. He did a couple of times. He really opened them up. He's such an exciting player. I find it hard. I struggle to understand why he's not in the first team. Why he's not a first choice player. He should be.
Yeah, where do you play him? Do you play him instead of Porro?
Well, I'm not. Well, if it was me, he'd be playing right back, and Porro would be playing right wing.
Okay, we're gonna go down there again.
But I'm not gonna do the broken record thing. Because Aaand, the only time he had both Porro and Jed on the right, he put Jed right wing and Porro right back, which was like mental. But he's not going to do that. But at the moment, well, I think he had done enough to keep his place above Udogie, and I think he needs to grow up. He needs to grow out of the sulk, because I think that's what's happening. It's a sulk, and I don't think you can sulk at this level.
It's quite interesting because Udogie's been out of form for much of the season, but he's come into form at just the right time, I think. Yeah. Because he's played well in Europe, and then he's been rotated out of the team in our poorer matches, poorer performances. So he's kind of been protected from that. I don't think he would have done any better than Spence in games against West Ham or Nottingham Forest or Wolves or anybody else who, Spence played at left back. I just don't think he would have been better. But equally, I looked at this one, and before the match, I was thinking, well, this is a game for Sergio Reguilon. So let's play Spence at right back, and let's play a proper left back at left back, instead of trying to shuffle people around. I just didn't really understand the moves that were being made. But then I didn't understand Richarlison starting, or Bissouma starting, or Kulusevski starting, because all three of those are going to be important on Thursday.
True. Well, Kulusevski doubly so with the news about James Maddison.
Yeah. Who we are going to need to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about... Hey, Austin. You've joined us.
Hey guys.
We are recording. So hey.
Sorry I'm late. I've only got a couple of minutes because I've got a house guest.
You are always welcome. You're always welcome, my good
I
man.
wanted to pop in and say hello to everyone and see what was what.
Well, we're about to talk James Maddison. James Maddison out with a knee injury, almost certainly out of the Border game, and there's stuff floating around on the interwebs talking that he's going to be out for the rest of the season. Now, rest of the season is not very long. We have 3 league games left of the season and potentially 2 games left in Europe. I thought Maddison did very well against Border Glimt until he was taken off. I thought we dipped after he went off. We didn't look as good after he went off, but then we didn't look as good after Richarlison went off. So the combination of 2, I think, really didn't do us any favours. And then compound that with Solanke, who I really hope is fit for Thursday, because that's still a dodgy one.
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough. I think with just the few number of games we got, I think Maddison probably won't be seen again this season.
Well, if we get to the final, it'd be a shame not to have Maddison, won't it?
Yeah.
When we get to the final, David, when we get to the final.
When we were 3-0 up, I was thinking, we're through. We're going to go through. And when they let that goal in, it was just amazing, the change in atmosphere in the stadium after that goal. It went really nervous. I mean,
yeah, because you were there.
Yeah, I was at the match, and it was it was one of the best experiences I've had at Tottenham Stadium in terms of atmosphere. It was extraordinary. It was extraordinary. I sang myself hoarse, and I think everybody around me did. My ears were ringing the next day. It was so loud in that stadium. Extraordinary. I think that the most beautiful moment was before the match, because everybody was there about an hour and a half before. I mean, the concourse in front of the South Stand was just rammed over an hour before. And the best part was everybody singing the Dele Alli song, which was lovely. And it was, I don't know whether you saw the videos on Twitter or social media, but Dele saw it and he reposted it with like a teary emoji, which I thought was quite lovely. I was quite happy that I was part of that. It was just fantastic. It was fantastic. But 81st minute, letting that goal in, the air went out of the stadium and everybody was bloody nervous, and there was not so much singing going on until the end of the match. So will we get to the final? 3-0? Yeah, I would have said even Tottenham should be able to get there at 3-0. 3-1, 2-goal lead. A squeaky bum time.
David, we'll get there.
I was talking to Kittel after the day after the game, and I was saying I'm pretty sure there's a record floating around that Buda have won every single league. Well, 28 out of the last 34 matches, the last home matches, they've won by 2 goals or more.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, that sounds about right, which is a worry. But then, to be fair, I don't want to talk down the Norwegian sides, but they are not of the same. Your average Norwegian side is not of the same quality as Tottenham Hotspur.
Well, we were vastly superior to them on Thursday. We were much more superior than a 3-1 scoreline shows. I mean, Richarlison first half, they could not live with him. I mean, it's a shame he didn't have the last, didn't finish his actions, but he caused them absolutely no end. They could not live with him. I thought he had apart from the final shot or the final pass, he absolutely tore them apart. He was fantastic, and actually our level went down a lot when he went off and Mattis Tell came on. It's not the same. And why am I saying this?
So if you go on to talk about Mattis Tell, maybe.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. No, it was just how much better we were. Yeah, because we were vastly superior to them, but they were missing an awful lot of players. I think they were missing about 3 defenders and
2 defenders, 2 midfielders, and a striker, apparently.
Yeah, and they're going to be back for the return match, so it's not the same team.
3 of them are going to be back.
Yeah,
I don't think the defenders are back. The 2 midfielders and the striker were suspended, so they're no longer suspended. They'll be back for this one. their most important player, Patrick Berg is apparently the way we say it, he's going to be back.
Okay, so
He's the guy who gets the ball out from the defense. He's like their version of Bissouma for us.
yeah, I mean,
Well, he's shit.
excellent. But like, I mean, in any normal
Guys, I'm
world,
sorry. I've got to go. I wanted to pop in and say hello, and
say how
I've got
shit
to join for the
Bissouma was.
rest. I've made my one comment. He's shit.
There you go.
I'm going. I'll see you next time.
Austin will be talking on Friday if you want to join us, mate.
I'll listen in. I'll listen in tomorrow when I'm at my computer again.
Perfect. All right, mate.
All right.
Take care. Have a good one.
Cheers, Austin.
See you, Stu.
See you, man.
All right, so that does take us on to Matty's tell.
Wait a minute. Now we know. Now we know that Austin's gone, and I'm sure he won't listen tomorrow. We can say what a wanker he is.
So the question was asked earlier today on the forum. Matty's tell. Why would we buy him?
Yeah, it was an excellent question. Yeah. Actually, just before we move on to that, I just want to say, in any normal world, when a top Premier League team goes and plays against a Norwegian team and starts with a 2-goal lead, you say, it's done
Job
deal.
Done. Yeah.
But I'm not as confident as Austin is. I'm not. They've got a lot of advantages now. They're gonna have players back, and we're still fragile. So anyway,
I think we're going to go through. I do think we're going to go through, but I'm with you in as like it's a nervy old proposition, because honestly, their home form is so good. The artificial pitch, which apparently they are extremely good at playing on that pitch. They're excellent at zipping the ball about on ways that you just can't do on grass, natural grass. It's going to be really tough, and as I said in the follow-up after the actual game, I'm kind of glad they scored their goal, because if we'd gone in 3-0, I think there would have been a temptation among the players to think this is done and dusted. And I think when we've done that, we've gone into games like the first game against AZ Alkmaar. We went in and we were like, oh, this lot of beatable, we're going to do them over, and we didn't. We ended up losing the game 1-0. And then I was like, oh, okay, now we've had a wake up, and look what we did. So we ended up getting through relatively simply in the end.
Actually, after this pod, can you just send me a DM with the phone number of your copium dealer, so that, because I mean, I think I need it. I think I need a shot of that, whatever you're having.
Well, after tonight, it'll be the local pharmacy. I can guarantee it. Oh dear, yeah. No, copium has been what I've been living off for the last season. I tell you.
I know. I've called you out on it so often. It's unreal.
I'm trying. I'm just trying to remain positive, because we've been. I have personally felt so negative under some of our previous managers.
Yeah.
And then I watch Aaaand, and I watch his press conferences, and not his aftermatch press conferences, the ones before the match. The day after is fine, not on the day. I just generally don't tend to watch those, because it can be a little bit knee jerk, and I don't think it's fair to put anyone under that kind of pressure straight, within an hour of having an extremely stressful emotional situation.
You know what? I bet Ange absolutely no ill will whatsoever, and compared to our, if I abstract Nuno, who was a real gentleman, I think, but Marino and Conte, I mean, he's such a breath of fresh air compared to those two geezers that basically had no respect for the club. Especially Conte just had no respect for the club at all
from day one.
He was too good for us. I mean, perhaps he was, but I don't want to fucking hear it every day. And so, on a human level, I just think he's super. And I remember the vibes when he came on board, and we were getting, the whole mood of the club changed, radically changed, and he did that. And clearly the players, the majority of the players, I think there's a couple where you might have a question mark, but the majority of the players, I think they love him. They love him. But
I think they do. Yeah. But my thing is, I've been so down with certain managers. I mean, maybe not Nuno. I think I wasn't really impressed with Nuno in terms of his ability as management, but as a gentleman, as a person, I mean, he's top class, and you
Yeah,
can see that since he's gone to Forest, the stuff he's done there, you know, talking to school kids and things like that. You know, people who've
yeah.
got troubles, people who've got issues. This is someone who can talk to anyone on a human level,
Yeah.
and you know that's got to be appreciated. And
Well,
I'm very
he
much the
got
same with Ange.
well, Nuno got a very, very raw deal. I don't want to be revisionist because, but by the time it's the football was pretty unpleasant under him, and I think he hadn't managed to create the right atmosphere at the club. But I think he also had so much stuff working. I mean, for me, the de facto club captain was basically on strike when Nuno was there, and I think clearly didn't want him there.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he could have done against that. And I'm pretty sure that the Conte stuff was already going around. He was just on a hiding to nothing for those, what was it, 10 weeks. I
Well, he
was,
was what, fifth
yeah,
choice for the role.
yeah. He was just on a hiding to nothing, and I think we gave him a really raw deal. He didn't manage to turn it around, so that bit of it is on him, but there's a lot of it that's on us. If I abstract Nuno, Ange, so much better as a person. And I just say it over and over again. My problem is if I could see the green shoots of recovery, I'd be on board, but I can't. After 2 years, I would hope to be seeing attacking patterns of play, sort
Yeah.
of. I would hope to see a sort of a coherent press, um, which we don't have. I would hope to see a midfield that knows where it's supposed to be positioned. I would hope to see a defence that, but at least signs of it, even if we're still fucking up and making mistakes, but at least you see, for about 10 minutes there, or for about 10 minutes there, or we did that in that game. But I just don't see it. So, for me, Europa or no Europa, I don't want Ange as our manager from more or less the day. Well, you can do the open bus tour, and then I don't say that with any meanness, because I think he's a lovely geezer. I just think I'm just not happy with the football. Just not happy with it.
You and I have known each other a long time now. We've been through several Tottenham Hotspur managers, and
Yeah.
I can't ever remember you having a personal grudge against anyone. Maybe AVB. AVB you did not particularly appreciate.
Hated him.
Yeah. We both came away from that Liverpool game going, no more of this, please. But yeah. But yeah, no, we've had our dark days.
Yeah.
I think this season is a blip. I know it's been a long old blip, but I think this season is a blip. I'm hoping that next season will be better. I'm personally hoping Ange gets another season so that we can see some shoots of recovery with him, because, as I said, as a man, I appreciate what he's trying to do, the way he's trying to talk. My biggest concern, and this is probably a little bit antithetical, I think is the word, is he's talked about wanting players to buy into his way of playing and always wanting to do certain things in the right way. And early on, that was talk of, one of his players when he was, I think it was Brisbane Roar, made a mistake on the pitch, trying to play the ball out and got caught and gave up a goal. And then a little while later, he did exactly the same thing, tried to play. And that's, by trying to play the ball out. And Ange was like, yeah, this guy gets it. He's still trying to play football the right way. And yet at the moment, when we play in Europe, my word, are we pumping some balls long? It's not
Ange ball, is it?
There are moments, where the ball is put into midfield, and it's normally when that comes through Christian Romero, because Romero is probably one of the best ball-playing central defenders in the league, if not Europe, which is probably why he'll leave in the summer. But he's very good at playing that quick ball in and getting it into a player more advanced in midfield and almost bypassing someone like Bissouma.
He can help break the press, yeah.
Yeah. So, but we've seen Vicario kicking the ball long. We've seen Van de Ven whacking it out when there just maybe wasn't enough movement or the right kind of movement from the players in front of him. And I'm like, okay, so potentially certain players still have not bought in, and we're 18 months into his reign now. So I think we're going to see a fair number of players move on. I mean, I created a list. I was looking at the squad list, and I think I put down 6 players that were likely to move on.
Okay.
So including Fraser Forster, Reguilon, who are both guaranteed to leave.
Okay.
Whiteman, almost guaranteed to leave. He's out of contract. He's unlikely to sign a new one. Davis, Ben Davis.
Didn't we? Have we got not a year option? I thought we'd taken it up. We haven't taken up his year option.
According to all the sources I've seen, we have not extended his contract.
Okay.
We extended Sonny's. We have not extended his.
Okay.
I suspect he wants to move on and play a couple more years of football being a first teamer. If I was in his shoes, I would want to. He must have made a ton of money, right? But if you in your last few years of playing football, you want to play, right?
Can I say something really bitchy?
Go on.
Well, I mean, I think he wants to be a football manager one day, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I expect
he's doing his badges.
Yeah. So he'd be better off going and playing under a manager that knows what he's doing and can
Maybe he wants to go be a player manager. West Brom apparently, QPR maybe. Who knows? Either of those could be good for him.
I'm horrible. Yeah.
But you do make us laugh.
Yeah. So Davis, I don't know. I think Davis probably should move on anyway. I love him, but I mean, he's another one where sometimes I look at him and I'm thinking he doesn't actually look like a Premier League football player anymore in some respects. The way he carries himself, I know it's just, he's brilliant guy. Welsh, like I'm half Welsh, so I'm full on board the Ben Davis train. But I don't know. Ever since he got bullied by Sessegnon against Fulham, I've kind of gone, whoa.
Yeah, that Sessegnon kid, he's doing very well at Fulham.
He's doing really well. Yeah. we should sign him.
I reckon 30 million could buy him again. Yeah.
No, do you think the most important signing this summer is going to be a medical team?
But haven't we already done that?
Don't know. I don't think we know about what's going on. I know we were
advertising on LinkedIn. But my understanding that's Scott Munn's remit. I mean, everything he does is very quiet. It's very under the radar. He does not seem like the kind of person who stands out. But of course, there's talk about Paratici coming back.
Yeah.
Now, if Paratici comes back, who misses out? If we're talking about a technical director, which is the role that they're talking about, then that kind of steps on Scott Munn's toes a little bit. If it's director of football, then that steps on Langer's toe. I think Langer's been doing a great job.
And we've got Venkateshwar. I'm just really sorry if you're listening, CEO of Tottenham. I apologise for absolutely messing up your name.
Venkateshwar.
Yeah. And he's coming in. So there's definitely going to be moves. If Paratici comes back, one of Langer and Munn is going to go for sure. The two. And
I can't see it being Langer. I mean, Langer's the guy who identified Berival. He worked with bringing in Solanke. He's been involved in some of our better moves. He was one that I think that identified Danso, and I think Danso's been very good.
Excellent,
Danso's been pretty solid. He's not Romero. He's not Van der Ven, but he's better than Ben Davis. And I would take him. I would take him at centre back over Davis or Gray.
Everybody, I think. Well, maybe I'm being pretentious, but I think everybody would say that if we could have Paratici and Langer, it would be like a dream team.
This is what I was saying a few weeks ago, and you were like, "No, it's not right. That's not going to happen."
Won't happen. But it would be the dream team. Langer for picking up the kids, and Paratici for the dodgy dealing. It would be great
deals. It would be great for us on the podcast because I mean, with Paratici there will always be something to talk about.
Yeah.
Because Langer keeps things so close to his chest. It's really difficult to know what is actually true and what's just paper talk. And most of it, 99% of it, is probably paper talk. because Bergvall, I heard about the Bergvall move the last day of the transfer window.
Yeah, yeah,
And I mean,
sensational
that's
work.
when most people found out about it. Gray was signed within 24 hours of being linked to him. Solanke, again, pretty
Yeah,
much kept under the radar. A lot of people linking us to lots and lots of players. And I remember putting
yeah.
together a comparison tables of all the players, and I was like, yeah, of all of those, Solanke's probably not the one to go for, but that shows how much I know.
The
But
only well, it's Solanke. I still don't know about Solanke. I think Solanke's a victim of. Um, I think he's a victim of our bad pressing. Because Solanke, everybody says he's just an unbelievable work rate, and it is
yeah,
phenomenal. But I don't feel that his work rate is backed up by the other players. So you see Solanke like running like a demon to close stuff down, but they
yeah.
do one pass and there's no one closing down the next man. There's no one doing the
That's
next
what
press.
one of
And
the things the Builder team was saying. They were saying that the press is really weak.
yeah,
If you can get it past the first guy, then you can move it
yeah,
through midfield. But I think they were, as I said on the last one, I think they were missing the point. The point was that Solanke was there to slow them down and getting that first ball out, and it was just giving a chance for everybody else to shuffle back into place, because that's what we were doing. It's almost
but
reminiscent of Harry Redknapp days. Under Harry Redknapp, the case of right, slow it down up
Harry.
top, right, and then everybody would get back into place, like, and effectively they'd say, okay, well, you ping a cross in and we'll head it out. You know, it just
Maybe,
kind of fell
but
apart when Ryan Nelson became one of our defenders. So
I just think Solanke does so much work that he's often not in the right place
yeah,
once we get the turnover. And I think he's a good player, and he can't be happy with his returns this season. And you can give him all the respect you want about his work rate, but at some point, someone's got to put the ball in the net,
yeah,
and I would want Dominic Solanke to be doing it more. But I think it's not Dominic Solanke's fault. I think it's what he's being asked to do is not leading to him getting chances, and he's doing too much of the pressing, and the rest of the team's not doing enough of the pressing in my view, or not doing it in a in a coherent, structured way.
yeah. No, I
Yeah,
agree. I think Solanke's his work up front means he's not in the position to finish the ball off in certain moves. And also, I don't think players are getting the ball to him in the right places. Like you see when Tell was rushing down the left, Solanke drops off or attacks, like not attacks the near post, but goes towards the near post, but a bit further back, and he's in space, and the ball's whipped across the box to try and
yeah,
get to the far post. And
mm-mm,
that's not his game. He's not going to score those kind of
no,
goals. But he is the guy who, a number of times I've seen this season, where if the goalkeeper fumbles, Solanke is the one closest to him.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
Solanke is probably the only player in our side who has that striker's instinct of following up on a ball, regardless of whether or not there's a really good chance of something coming off. But if there's a mistake, he will be there to gobble it up, because he's the only one that's got that just natural instinct to follow up on the ball and see what happens.
yeah. But actually, Connor said that our press was arse. I think was the word that was used in the translation.
Something like that, yeah.
I thought first half our press was really effective, and they could hardly get anything going at all first half. Second half, our press was arse, and that happens to be when Richie went
Richie went
off,
off.
and then Solanke went off, and I think with each one of them, the level of our press went
Yeah.
backwards. And it was again. I'm sorry, I'm trying to switch on a switch here because I've just realised my computer's about to run out.
Well, then let me talk just for a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've got
Right.
the Builder game coming up very, very soon. I think some of the side is pretty much guaranteed already. It's set in stone. I think it's going to be Vicario in goal, Porro right back. Then we're going to go across the central defence to Romero and Van der Ven, Udogi at left back. Then we move into midfield. Bentancur, Basuma seem odds on. Kulusevski with Maddison out seems like the highly likely option. And then you move to the wings, which kind of becomes a bit of an issue because down the left, Mikey Moore, I think, had a pretty good little cameo when he came on against West Ham. He's looked like an excellent player at times. I'm still waiting for him to open his legs up and go at people because that's what I
Right.
love seeing. Get careful. That's what I love seeing about him at youth level. He would just almost glide past people at times. He's got the ability to just take them out of the game with a little movement. I compared him to Chrissy Waddle at one point early on, and he's got that kind of ability.
That is actually a really good comparison. That is
Why,
actually
thank you.
now you've said it, I see exactly.
Now you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was what was it? There was one point, and I said same kind of thing as like I said. There was one point where he gave a little swerve, and I almost fell off the sofa because it was that good.
That good, yeah. Yeah, but I don't think Mikey's ready to start. But I think he has to be on the bench.
I don't think he's ready to start, but I think he's got to be on the bench. I think he's got to be looked at as at some point soon. He's going to be looked at as a starter. I think it's going to be Richarlison playing left wing again. I think it's going to be Johnson on the right. But it really depends on whether Solanke's available. I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that absolutely he is available because I think we need him because his work rate just stops the opposition defense having an easy time at the back.
But I do think Richarlison's much more of a nuisance in the number 9.
I'm so much more not convinced. He's a really strong runner. I think he's a very strong runner, but I'm just not convinced he's that effective through the middle. I've never seen him have a really good game through the middle in terms of, I mean, he scored 2 headers against Marseille, was it? But that was about the only time he's been really strong and dominant.
Yeah. Well, it was around Christmas in Ange's first season when he came in for, was it Sonny? When Son was injured, and he had a bit of a purple patch there.
He scored 4 in 4 or something, but then he went on a long run without anything.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, it has to be Solanke's obviously going to start, and hopefully Richie will be on the left. But if Solanke's injured, then
it's got to be Richie through the middle and Tell on the left, right? Unless Sonny's fit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the leakiest part of Tottenham now is definitely the medical team. So we'll probably hear in the next couple of days whether Sonny's going to be playing. We'll know way before the match. Everybody will know.
The mole will be in high demand. Absolutely.
I don't think Sonny will be ready. He hasn't been playing. I don't think so. So I suppose it'll be Tell. It might be Tell on the left. I think Tell is he's quite good actually, because then this go back to that question: would we pay 45 million for Tell?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, let's do it. So my points were: he's young, he's very good technically, he's powerful, and the fact he's young means that he's got a lot of evolving to do as a player, and you can see elements in him that you go, oh yeah, there's a top class player in there.
Yeah.
The cons, it's a lot of money to pay out on a player who has not yet cemented a place in the side. He is inconsistent. He can be streaky. He can look really good in one game and then not particularly great in the next. When he came on as a sub against Boda, he was almost invisible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the level went down a lot.
Yeah. I think the other thing is if Ange isn't the manager, which, you're hoping he isn't, careful. If Ange isn't the manager, then I think the manager's going to look and say, why are we spending £45 million on this player when he doesn't really have a set role in the side? I can make use of that money much more somewhere else. Because we really do have a need for a number 6.
I think that's what Sam said, is that Tell doesn't solve any pressing problem that we have.
Yeah.
We need, I think Sam said, we need someone over on the right, which is true. And we desperately need number 6. Even though Bissouma, I thought we did really well against Bodo Glimt. He was really, really good. his time's done with us. You know, it's like Richie can play great, but his time's done with us now. You know, I
I think
absolutely love
so. I
him,
think
but
both are leaving this summer.
it's over for them, and that's fine. But we need a better. We need a Moussa Dembele regen.
Oh. Yeah, Moussa Dembele would just finish this side. Yeah, Moussa Dembele and Aaron Lennon. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, let's
we
have a
have been
Bale
linked.
Regen. Sorry.
Yeah, we've been linked
let's
to.
have a Delhi Regen. Spray. Shut up,
yeah,
Bale. Shut up, Bale.
We've been linked to Rooney Bargi today, Swedish 19-year-old. Apparently extremely highly rated. Never seen him play. I've seen like YouTube clips, but YouTube clips don't tell you much of anything at all, really. So apparently he plays extremely well when he's playing with Berroval in the under-21s.
Okay.
So it'd be nice if we could bring him in. He plays down the right, and you know, you can just imagine Rooney. You know, that'll go nicely for the press writers.
Absolutely.
Like us again.
So yeah, so I think we kind of agree that not at 45 million for Tell, but
which I think is why there's talk of the club trying to negotiate the price down.
Yeah, and there's one more little question mark about Tell, which is people say that he sees himself as a number 9 playing down the middle.
Yeah,
and not in the Premier League. I don't see that.
He's not shown it yet. He's not shown it yet. When he was playing at Rennes, he did play some games through the middle. He didn't play many games. I think he was there for like 9 games before he was snapped up. He played a few for Bayern, but most of it was coming off the bench or starting out wide.
Yeah.
But apparently, he sees himself as a number 9. And the other thing, and the reason why I've been hesitant to think about him as a Tottenham player next year, is he's got the choice. It's not a case of everything is already agreed and Tottenham just need to press the button.
Absolutely.
Everything is agreed and Tottenham can press the button, but then Matty Tell gets to say no Messi and just go off somewhere else.
And
maybe he wants to go back to Bayern and try his luck there again. Maybe he wants to go to Manchester United. Maybe the European final, the Europa League final, will be a who's got Matty Tell next year.
Yeah,
that might be it.
Yeah, but I don't know. So I'm sort of ambivalent. I definitely don't think we should sign him for 45 million. But the question is, what about for 30 million? Maybe. And I don't really know if the finances, because the finances are supposed to be awful. And I listened to the podcast with Sam, and I listened to another podcast about it. But the thing is, in one of the other podcasts, which was an accountant was talking on, I can't remember what the name of the podcast is. Quite a good one. The guy said, I'm an accountant, so when a business owner says to me, how much money did I make this year? I asked him, well, how much do you want me to say you made?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of that in Tottenham's figures. Yeah. I think I've heard various things. It's a whole bunch of Tottenham subsidiaries left and right with about 300 million quid in them. There's a lot. I think there's a lot of financial engineering going on in those figures that we don't really see.
I think there's certainly some. A lot of the money came down to EBITDA, which is basically is profit before when your contract is lowered and your asset is worth less and things like that. So a lot of the reason we made a loss is because the value of the money put into the stadium was written off. So there was something like £70 million that was written off from the value of the stadium.
Okay.
So all of those things add up. If you said, okay, well, you have a stadium, it's making you money, it's not really costing you anything. It's not actually a loss, but you can log it in the books as a bit of a loss. If there was that, then yes, there would be a profit there, along with amortization. Amortization is the word I'm looking for, of contracts and things like that.
Yeah. I think there's financial engineering going on in these. I'm not that worried about the financial situation, to be honest. I think we can buy if Levy wants to, open the purse strings, he can. I'm sure he can.
I'm sure we'll be spending about the same amount of money as we did the last few summers. We'll spend about 100 million plus whatever we get in sales.
Okay,
And
good. But I want
Hill's going to
to.
go. Solomon's going to go.
Yeah.
Romero might go unless
Mm.
Levy decides to stick his, dig his heels in. At that point, we've probably got another 100 million to spend.
Yeah.
Because I
Well,
don't think Hill or Solomon are going to bring in huge amounts of money, but Romero should be worth a decent amount.
and I think that's where we would do well to have Paratici on board, because I think he's good at getting players that are just about to hit their prime or are in their prime, whereas Langer is good at finding the ones that we'll really like in a few years' time.
Yeah.
Or actually surprising us with Bergvall, who we like immediately. Okay, fair enough. Or after 6 months. But because this summer, I don't want to see us signing 15-year-olds. Not at 40 million, 50 million. I want the big money to go on players for right now. And I think that's what the squad building era last summer was. We put everything on youth and nothing or hardly anything on experience. I think it was Dominic Solanke was the only experienced player we signed, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One player effectively for the first team and several players who might make it.
Yeah. And was not enough,
Yeah, again, I think that was an issue. I think that left us short in certain areas. I mean, I remember saying that I wanted us to have a left back, and I think I said a right winger as well. And despite how well Brennan Johnson has done, I still would love to see a magic right winger, because I think Odebear is one for the left. But we made signings like Yang, we made signings like Bergvall, Gray, players who will come in and will hopefully be very good in the future, because Yang looks reasonable. But previously we made signings like Vuskovic, who at the time was like 15, 16 years old, and we've waited a long time for this kid, and he looks good, but we'll have to wait and see how he's going to fit in. Will he play for us next year, or will he go on loan?
What a good week for the loanees, talking of the youngsters.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Jamie Donnelly very quickly, because I know you're a fan.
Yeah, well, I'm a fan of his stats, because when I see what he does, it looks really good. But I only ever see the highlights, But him, is it Josh Keeley, the goalkeeper?
Josh Keeley.
George Abbott in the playoffs. Is it George Abbott? Yeah, George Abbott with Notts County in the playoffs. I think it's George
scored the
Abbott.
Goal of the season, I believe.
Oh right, didn't see that. Yeah. That's pretty amazing stuff.
Donnelly's got highest number of assists in the league, but 10 assists in the league, which
fantastic.
I'm not sure is a huge number. I think you probably want more if he's going to be the highest in the league, but he didn't even play every game. And Josh Keeley's numbers were excellent. At one point,
loads of clean sheets.
Yeah, loads of clean sheets. He had, I think he had the second highest number of clean sheets in the league at one point, but he'd played only 2/3 the number of games as the goalkeeper ahead of him.
Yeah,
he's been excellent.
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So I don't. Why are people sleeping on George Abbott? I sometimes wonder why people are all about Donnelly and the guy that's playing in Belgium, in Westerlo, with the Serbian guy.
Alfie.
People are all about him, but no one talks about George Abbott. And George Abbott's playing in the same level as Donnelly. Got into the playoff finals too. Is seen as, I think, player of the year for his club.
He was up for Young Player of the Year.
Young Player of the Year.
I think he came second in the Young Player of the League for the league.
Yeah. It's funny, people sleep on George Abbott, and I wonder why. He used to be captain of the youth team, didn't
he? He's one of those players who came on, I think it was in the Leeds game when Mason was in charge.
Okay.
And he came on and he looked okay. He looked reasonably comfortable. From what I've seen of him, he's not a player who comes out and he's not a player that stands out for any particular reason. He's one of those steady eddies, and you do need a few of those in the club.
You do,
He comes in, he does his job, he makes very few mistakes, but he's not outstanding in any particular way.
Yeah. Okay. But I think he's a what is he, a fullback?
Central midfielder.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Kind of defensive. Yeah. But then you've got Jamie Donnelly, who scores goals from almost the halfway line and does some beautiful, beautiful passes. He's he's got that ability to play a through ball, which a lot of players lack.
Right.
And he plays passes that other people don't see. I know Austin's a huge fan.
Yeah, but Austin he doesn't like Alfie Dorrington, who's been in the team of the week again. I was hoping that Austin would stay so I could like give him a bit.
So you could have a go.
I think he knew I was gonna shove Alfie Dorrington down his throat, and so he chickened out. Hello, Austin, if you're still listening.
You will be listening. Hey, Austin. All right.
Right.
Okay, let's call it a day on that, because we've had a long old chat tonight, a long old natter, and I've got to go to the doctor. So we will be back. We will be talking about the Border Glimt return leg. We'll be doing that on Friday. The pod will be released probably the same night, and let's see how it goes.
Do you think you'll get down the pub for Thursday?
Not a chance.
Thursday night, not a chance.
Not a chance. I can absolutely guarantee I'm going to be on antibiotics after tonight, so there will be no alcohol passing my lips for the next 7 days. Very frustrating. Yeah. But hey, okay, everybody, thank you very much for joining us. If you made it this far, please give us a like, please give us a subscribe. Check us out on all the major podcasting platforms. I probably should have said this earlier, but I'm not very good at the self-promotional thing. Thank you very, very much for joining us. David, it's been lovely having you on. I hope to speak to you again very, very soon and see you down the pub as soon as I'm allowed to. Until next time, everybody, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.